Class is now in session. Join the Podcast Mogul Phil Better as he gives you tips, techniques, and strategies to grow and monetize your podcast. Live in his Facebook group, The Better Method of Daily Audience Growth for Independent Podcasters. Learn from him and his special guests as they help you become the next podcast superstar. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, podcasters of all ages, put your hands together for your host, Phil Better. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. Of course, this is Invest in Yourself, the podcast series. I am, of course, your host with the most, Phil Better, the Podcast Mogul. We're going live in the Better Method of Daily Audience Growth for Independent Podcasters. Yes, every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, regardless of daylight savings time or not, at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard, we go live and I teach you guys how to grow, monetize, and become the next podcast superstar so you can be getting that $100 million deal like our good friend Joe Rogan. Ladies and gentlemen, so today, podcasters, we are talking about hook points. Now, what is a hook point? All the benefits of a hook point. I'll get into this, but this came up while I was in a messenger chat with one of my clients, and she was like, I don't know how to hook people. I don't know what's this hook point. And I'm like, you need a hook point. And she's like, what is a hook point? And I'm like, okay. I started explaining to her, and I'm like, you know what? A lot of podcasters need to know what a hook point is because it's going to help you grow your podcast before you even know it. A hook point is, in basic terms, something that hooks people to listen. End of discussion. Listen, read, watch, whatever it is. Something that is like, oh, I need to read this. This is something that I want to learn. All right. And the best person to follow is my guy, is Brendan Kane. Brendan Kane is the guy who wrote, give me a second. What's the book you wrote? I want to get it right. So he went 0 to 1 million followers in 30 days. That's the hook point. It tells you if you read this book, then you'll go from 0 to 1 million in 30 days. That's the hook point. It's something that just doesn't appeal to someone's logic, but it also appeals to their emotions because you want to solve a pain point. That's what the hook point does. So it's a unique phrase, thought, title, or a piece of copy, problem, solution, or benefit for your listener. So if it's like, if you're listening to this, what is a hook point? You're going to be like, what is a hook point? That's hooking you in. What's the hook? Like, that's the point because you want to learn what it is. If you listen to this, you'll find out what the hook is or what is a hook point. That's the benefit of a hook point because it draws your listener in, and then you use your text to draw them even more further into the rabbit hole so that they become more inclined to listen to you. Okay. If you want, pick up Brendan Kane's copy. He has a book that deals with just deals with hook points. He's helped Rihanna, Taylor Swift, all these amazing people. I believe he has a book. Hold on. Yeah, his book is called Hook Point, so definitely go pick it up. It's an amazing book. But he goes like, hook point is a unique phrase, thought, or title, or a piece of copy, problem, solution, or benefit. So if you can provide a benefit, like this podcast provides a benefit. What's the benefit? It helps you grow and monetize your podcast. So if you listen to this, it will cause people, you know what the benefit is. It's a concept or idea expressed through a visual format, image, or video. So like this video is showing people what a hook point is, or like your image, a point. Like when I came up for the event of this page, you saw the image of what's the hook, and that can draw you in. A thumbnail. If you don't know how important a thumbnail is or an image is, just know that Mr. Beast, the largest creator on YouTube, spends close to $10,000 to $20,000 on thumbnails for one video. Just for one video, to make sure that the thumbnail is perfect and that he can hook enough people. So that's the power of an image. That's the power of a hook point. Because look, if the biggest guy in the game in YouTube spends close to $20,000 just to get a thumbnail right, imagine if what you do, if you spend just a few more hours on your image or your cover art, or you pay someone who's better, can do to increase your listeners. All right. So, or it's something like or it's a held belief or phrase that's flipped on their head. So he uses the example, warning, safety is dangerous. And it's true. If you play the safe game, you're not going to grow. You're not going to um, become who you're meant to be. If you stay safe, you stay in your comfort zone, right? The biggest growth is on the other side of discomfort, on the other side of your fear. So playing safety is dangerous, right? Even though we're taught from a young age to be play safe, do things safely, make the safe bets, but it actually is a wrong, because you have to fight for your dreams. Your dreams are not safe because you have to build your dreams, right? And another hook point is a product or service that is different from what the type of audience member is used to seeing. So this is something that he's learned. Brandon is talking about this. This is an article on LinkedIn. I'll put the link in the show notes down below, but it's from Craig Clemenson. His formula for coming up with unique hook points for a product, service, or company comes down to a simple if-then statement. You want to point out your prospects' problems or needs after the if, and use your product as the solution to their problems after the then. So if your problem is monetizing your podcast, so if you want to monetize your podcast, then you need to listen to Invest in Yourself, the podcast series. Simple as that. If you want to learn to better yourself, then you need to listen to Everyday Creatively. Or if you want to listen to the legends of the UK sports world, then you need to listen to the TWS Sports Podcast. Okay. That just doing that will solve a lot of your people's problems. You're going to figure out what your hook point for your podcast is. Then you can look at what the hook point for each of your individual episodes is. So just using the if then statement and putting the if, what is it? If you like sports legend, if you like horror movies, if you like action movies, if you're clear and defined on what your podcast provides and answers, then you can suggest it. If you want to learn how to become a digital entrepreneur, then listen to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast, where Phil interviews entrepreneurs in the digital world. Simple as that. You want to make it so that the person who is listening to your podcast has a problem, and your podcast is the solution that's creating. So if you listen to an episode like this, if you want to learn how to capture more listeners, then listen to this episode of Invest in Yourself, the podcast series about hook points. This episode solves an issue. That is what you want to do in your show notes. Tell them, by listening to this, if you have this problem, then this episode will solve it. Or if it's an interview, if you're facing this difficulty, then my guest can solve it. You can even put that in the first 30 seconds of your opening, or the first 4 seconds of your episode. If you're looking to capture more attention, then this episode on hook points is the perfect episode for you. If you want to learn how bad Amityville Horror Remake is, then listening to this episode of Horror with Sir Sturdy is where you're going to learn about that, where me and my colleagues, See how powerful that is? You're telling the listener exactly what they're going to get within the first 3 seconds, and they're going to be more inclined to listen. Because if you have a rambling intro that goes, hi, you hear it in my intro. Class is in session. If you want to learn, then you listen to this. That's the power of a hook point. It will take you to the next level. It's going to create massive change in how you create your podcast, how you structure your podcast, because you can create the hook point after your interview. If you don't know what the hook point is before the interview, well, when you do a live, like I'm doing a live show now, you can go back and go, what was the biggest thing that we solved in this issue, in this episode? Okay, boom. Then that's why people should listen to it. If one of the interviews I did on Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast, was about storytelling and how important storytelling is to a company and to an entrepreneur's story. If you can properly tell your story visually or written or orally, and you're able to convey your story, your podcast, your business is going to go up. So if you have an issue, if you want to learn how storytelling can help your business, then listen to the episode of Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast, with Josh from Storytell Studio. So that is What's the difference? Thank you so much, Justin, for tuning in. What's the difference between a hook point and niche? So, a niche is the genre of podcast. So, this niche of podcast that we're listening to right now is the how to niche, if you want, or the how to genre. More specifically, a sub niche is podcasters, helping podcasters grow and monetize. That's a sub niche. And I can go even smaller. In the sub niche is independent podcasters, specifically focus on the independent podcaster to help them grow and monetize. Now, your hook point would be if you are an independent podcaster looking to grow your podcast or monetize your podcast, then you need to listen to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur podcast. Now, for your podcast, let's take your anime stash or dad's anime stash. If you're a father that loves anime, then you need to listen to Dad's Anime Stash because you're going to get the full range of amazing new animes to watch. That's your hook point. Your hook point is telling your audience what they get from listening to your podcast. So this episode, what are you going to get from this episode? You're going to learn how important a hook point is. If you want to learn how important a hook point is for your podcast, then listen to the latest episode of Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur, the podcast series episode titled "What's the Hook?" See, people are gonna be like, "Oh, what is a hook point?" Okay, to solve this question, to answer this question, I need to just okay, cool. If you want to know about the craziness in the anime or the top 10 fight scenes in anime, so Justin is just replied, gotcha. So things like episode title, description play a bigger part than I thought. They do. Look, if you want to grow your podcast, you have to change how you think of your podcast. Okay. If you want to grow it, you have to think of it as a business. Next week's podcast, I'm going to do an episode on mindset, and we're going to change your mindset, how you think, and it's going to be a very powerful one. So please, if you have podcast friends who want to grow their show, make sure you invite them into the group, or you're going to share next week's episode with them. I will make sure that it goes out live on YouTube the day after the episode goes live, so that you can share it with your friends, how to change your mindset to make your podcast grow. Because you have to change everything you thought you knew about podcasting, because everything you know about podcasting is fucking wrong. Excuse my language. And that's going to be next week's episode. Again, there is a hook point. I'm saying if you want to grow your show, if you want to change your mindset about podcasting, tune into next week's show. So now that's engaging you to tune into next week's show, because like, wait, I have to change the way I'm thinking about podcasting when what I know about podcasting is wrong. You can do that at the end of your episodes as well. It's little things that hook you. Okay. If you don't know how to do it, or you're not sure, use the if then. The then is listen to this episode of my show. What's if? What am I facing so that I can, what is solving my issue? By listening to your episode, what am I solving? That's if you have this problem. You are very welcome, Justin. It's what I want to do. This is what I want to do. My goal, guys, I've said it on a few podcasts that I've been on, and I haven't publicly said it. My goal is to help every single independent podcaster monetize their show. Okay. I want every single person who I will give away the farm to help podcasters. I will get myself in debt to learn secrets and then share it with you. I've already spent, hold on, close to $10,000 learning how to monetize stuff, how to grow a business, so I can take that knowledge and teach you guys. It's not about me. I make my money. I live a very, very happy life. I'm very happy. I get to meet interesting people. I get to talk to interesting people on a daily, interview entrepreneurs who are further along or behind me. It's amazing. My job is amazing because I get to talk to you guys, okay, and teach you guys. I get to go every Friday, teach you guys stuff that I've learned to help grow my business, how I got money from listening to podcasts, reading, spending money so that you guys can get this information for free. Because what I want to do is give you give it to you in advance, make you guys make money, grow your show so that you have a little coin. Then you come to me and you pay me. Because if you're getting what the free stuff is, imagine what you can get if you hire me to coach you, hire me to take you guys to the next level. Imagine how much money, if you're getting just a few dollars from my free content, what the coaching can be, what an hour of my time could do for your guys. Okay. So here's a hook point. If you want to change your thinking about podcasting and why everything you know about podcasting is wrong, then you need to listen in to next week's show. It's going to be, the event will be created on Monday. Make sure you click attending. There will be 3 emails that go out next week. One will be teaching you how to monetize a specific type of niche. One will be on Wednesday announcing what the podcast episode is going to be on Friday, and one will tell you we're going live. So if you're not signed up to the email list, make sure you do. Go to philbetterinc.com/Facebook group. Pardon me. And you can sign up to the email list to get those reminders that we go live. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you found this useful. Please, any questions, leave them in the comments down below. If you're watching this on the replay, you know how we do it. #replay gang. I love your faces, guys. Please ask those questions, because your questions will create episodes that I can answer and help hundreds and hundreds of more podcasters learn. So your questions need to be posted in the group, posted on these videos, post them everywhere so that I can help you guys grow and monetize your show. I will go and find the answers to your questions if I don't know it. I am Phil Better. I'm your podcast mogul, helping you independent podcasters make great podcasts and growing and monetizing those podcasts. I thank you so much for watching, and remember always to invest in yourself.